Making and cutting Asiatic Lilium, aka Tiny Bee Lily. My oils are 110 and my lye solution is 109. You'll notice in the videos that I've made with my metal stainless steel container with the lye solution, I do strain that if I'm soaping lower temps because it wants to dry and collect around the inside of the pot and I don't want it to get in my mixture. So with this container, I'm not needing to strain it. I have some things out of view because I've moved my camera. So here at the top is the Dead Sea mud, and then below is the yellow mica. I'm stirring here just a little bit, and here in a jiffy I'm going to hit it with the stick blender, maybe I think one pulse, and then divide some into the yellow mica and some into the Dead Sea mud. I don't want to stick blend much because I don't want it to reach emulsion yet. The longer one stick blends, the quicker it reaches emulsion and then goes through thin trace, medium trace, and then thick trace. So since I want to hold off on emulsion as long as I can, so that I can have more time to work with the colors and the fragrance oil, I'm not stick blending as soon as I get my lye in my oils like I used to. I'm checking the amount of batter I have for the yellow. I need more. Also, need a little bit more for the Dead Sea mud. So here in a jiffy, I'll be adding more into it. I really need to do better when I have that camera on the side, getting everything in frame. And if I did have it at emulsion, the Dead Sea mud and the yellow mica would blend in better. So here in a little bit, I'm going to stick blend a little bit and get it to speed up a bit. But I'd rather do it later than sooner and get myself into trace when I don't want it to be. And I'm about to do this in slow mode because I love to watch the color swirl around and slowly blend on in. Watch for the rings that move around the tool when I let go. Some is dark and some of it is light. It's because the mixture hasn't emulsified yet. Instead, the water and the oils are separating. If I were to pour this in the mold right now, it would just separate and not make soap. As I stick blend, watch for it to get opaque. There it is. And this means that it is emulsifying, and I could have stopped with just a couple of short bursts. This is slow speed, so here shortly I'm going to go ahead and let it go through the normal speed, so if anybody's interested in how quickly it goes opaque, you can't really tell when it's slow speed, so you'll be able to tell better when it is at regular speed. Despite the fact that I did stick blend short bursts 4 times, I was satisfied with the end product. One really can't take written notes when you're making soap. However, I do take notes while watching these for future purposes. In the future, if I'm doing more intricate designs, because this one is not, I've made a notation to stop at the second short burst and then use my whisk until I reach the consistency of trace that I want. I'm a little frustrated at myself having so much out of camera range, but what I'm doing right now is stick blending the Dead Sea mud. As soon as I removed it from the blue, I went ahead and moved it into the Dead Sea mud, which won't mess the color up any because I'm going from blue to black and black's darker. Got to multitask because you don't want to let the soap batter just sit particularly after it's reached emulsion. So I give the blue a little stir. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick blend the yellow and try to get it to thin trace before getting everything in the mold. If you're wondering why you can sometimes hear the stick blender and sometimes you can't, it's because the television is on. I didn't figure anybody would want to listen to NCSI or any other whodunit programs I watch, so I edited all of that out. It's finally time to get the fragrance in. Whisk, whisk, whisk. I am not going to stick blend unless I absolutely have to. Fragrances work very well with cold processed soap, and others can make it get so thick so fast you have soap on a stick. And that's exactly what it sounds like. I've got this in slow mode for just a little bit because I like, just like the color changing, I like to watch the pouring of it. And I am doing this backwards. I'm sitting down because I have a lot of spinal issues. I really need to stand so I can see what I'm doing. If I'm standing up, I can actually pour from the other direction because I'm standing over it and I can see better. But because I wasn't standing, I had to pour to where I could see it coming out of the container. And by alternating the blue and then the yellow and then the Dead Sea Mud with a little black mica, it's going to create it's called a drop swirl. And each time you pour something into the batter from a high height, it penetrates deeper. If I pour from a lower height, it's not going to penetrate as deeply. So I'm going from high, and then I get a little lower as things progress. So this is the direction I should have been pouring all along, but there's only a little bit left, and you'll notice that I've got it much closer, so it's not really penetrating into the batter. Plus, the yellow has gotten thicker trace, and so has the blue as well. My poor cat wants some attention. He meowed at me. He's definitely a very needy feline. Once all the bars are cut and I have to clean my guitar strings, I take a little bit of the soap that I've taken off of it and fill it in the little hole. You never know the air hole was there. Okay, down to the very last bit of the yellow. And here it looks like a ribbon. It's kind of cool looking. When soap batter has held its shape like that, it means it is at thick trace. Okay, that's that. Now I bang it down some more and get more air bubbles out. Time for my hanger tool, and I don't really have any specific way I'm doing this. I just insert it, and then as I move it towards myself, I loop it around. Do the same going in the opposite direction. This hanger tool is a little bit short because it's for a different mold. This one's a longer mold. You probably noticed I had to scoot it over to the right a bit, or towards the top of the screen in this angle. And I'm just using a thin skewer, swirling it. Then I bring it around the side of the mold just to clean some off because I've made quite a mess. I'm not really satisfied with the color difference, so there's a little yellow left in my container and a teeny tiny blue amount left. So I scrape, scrape, scrape and dab it on and then it gives a little bit more decoration, a little better look to the swirls. Between my cat meowing and my husband snoring, we've got a little extra sound effects there. My husband just heard me, and he said he wasn't going to charge me. Wait, did you say you were going to charge me?
No,
oh, you? No, he's not going to charge me any extra for the sound effects. Now our cat might. There was only a minuscule amount of blue, but at least I got a little out of it. And things wouldn't be complete unless I got the rest of the Dead Sea mud out of the container. Looks like I got a little bit more of the Dead Sea mud soap batter than I did the blue. Okay, with the rest of the yellow, black, / Dead Sea mud, and blue, I'm ready to swirl it again. And I have it in slow motion if you haven't noticed. Because again, I love seeing that stuff in slow motion, so I do this more for me than probably anything else. This is just 90% alcohol, rubbing alcohol, that I'm spritzing on it, that is to help keep it from getting soda ash on it, which is just aesthetic, not affect the performance of soap. Now for the reveal. And the reason why it's so hard for me to wait 2 days, and I generally cut it about a day and a half, is because I'm like a little kid on Christmas, or actually the day before Christmas, wanting Christmas morning to get here very quickly so I can open my gifts and see what's inside. And that's what these are, little gifts to myself. I really like how the swirls came out. I did a swirl towards myself and then back away from me. And then of course I had to move the tool over because this mold is longer than the one that I actually made this for, and it's shorter. So I like that it has multiple swirls in there. It really gave a nice effect. Some of them look like leaves. Some of them look like sails on a sailboat. It's always exciting to see what the soap looks like when you do different designs. Each bar is unique. Of course, the soap that, like number 1 and number 2, where they join, you could actually put them right next to each other and it's a mirrored effect. And I've actually done that with some of the pictures I took here. And then I enjoy looking at seeing what I can see in the mirrored soap. One looked like a face. So you have a praying mantis, I think. Another one looked like, oh, another face, but I can't remember what face I thought it looked like. Had I not broke 2 of my guitar strings trying to cut 100% coconut oil soap that I made so I could make my own melt and pour or glycerin soap, otherwise I would not have had to move this little hunk over and use my cutter again. I've got spare guitar strings that came with it, so I'll have to dig them out and fix it. Then I won't have to shift it over like this. I like making my own melt and pour / glycerin soap because I can control the ingredients, and one thing I do not put in it that's in the commercially made, and that is detergents. So the 100% coconut oil soap was so hard after just, oh goodness, maybe 8 hours or 10 hours that it broke my strings. Appreciate you watching, and if you enjoyed seeing it, even though it's not a tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and thank you much.